Cheer. You already know it's your boy Joe back at it again in the Back at It Again podcast. So you already know it's codingphase.com, guys. Listen, what's really good, man? Today's podcast, we got somebody who is a great supporter of the community. At the same time, somebody that I respect a lot, somebody that I consider a friend. This is the first episode to our podcast. I hope that you guys like it. We're actually doing this live, so definitely show some love. Make sure you share this on your Twitter account, share this on your Facebook account, share this on your Instagram account. Tell everybody and your mother, that we live right now, okay? Never been done before, live podcast with your boy Cam Perry. Shout out to your boy in here, man. What up, Cam?
Yo, man, what's good? I'm happy. I know I did my first podcast and I had you on, and you got your own podcast and I'm on. So it's all love, man. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, man. I really appreciate it. I had to return the love. You show me love by putting me on your first podcast. I said, I'm gonna put my man's Cam on this too, man. We do the same thing. Okay. So yeah, man, Cam was really good, man. Introduce yourself. Let the people know who you is, and this podcast is going to be titled The Junior Experience in 2020. Okay. So right now we could consider you as a junior developer, somebody that still trying to get in the game, and I want people to know your story, and you could share a little bit about how's it going for you in 2020 as a junior developer. So go ahead, man.
Yeah. So it's my story. Like, I'm sure, some of y'all probably know, but I'm going to tell the people that maybe don't know my story. So, I started learning how to code, self-taught. And, I eventually saw my boy Coding Phase. We did the little mentorship program, and I feel like that whole process, leveled me up more than any other experience I had before that point. And I never thought, that we would still be like good friends after all this. But, I went ahead and did that route. I kind of had a little tough journey. I was doing direct sales for a little bit. And after that, I went ahead and saw Lambda School, because I thought, and I still, to this day, I think, I know Joe is not really big on boot camps, but I feel like Lambda School, it leveled me up to a level that I probably wouldn't have got otherwise. Because I mean, not even just as a student, but just as a TL, because you learn how to be a mentor to other people and also able to teach what you already knew. And I think that's so big. Like, I always tell people, like all my students I've ever had, I said, what I would do is anytime you learn something new, try to teach someone else. Like, because you probably know way more than someone else does. Like, even if you only know HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript, there's a lot of people that stop, learning a little bit of HTML, CSS. So you probably know more than them. So try to teach people, like maybe on Twitter, like if you see somebody that's, having a tough time with something, just do a quick search on Twitter and help them out. Like, you can do something that simple. And that's kind of what I did, when I started, level myself up to a higher and higher level.
All right, Cam. So look. Before we give them all the gems right away, let's slow it down. Let's go back into your history, right? So
yeah.
How did you fall into, this journey of becoming a developer, right? Start with that, and then from there, we're gonna continue.
I got a little excited there. I wanted to give him a little something, but we'll wait. We'll give him a little bit more later. So pretty much like how I started, like my parents, I don't know if any of y'all have military backgrounds. Both of my parents were in the military, and what they wanted to do for me, they wanted to make sure that I lived a better life than they did. Because I mean, anyone who lived in a family, with both your parents in the military, it was a real strict household. I couldn't do all the crazy stuff that some people be doing. I know some of y'all be wilding, when you were, teenage years and stuff. But if I did that, I had to sneak away and, get away from the house. I couldn't do that in my mama's house. It wasn't happening. I already got beat down. I'm sure y'all got hit with the belt. Y'all remember that? Yeah. So yeah, like
you're bringing it back to those days, huh?
Yeah. It was pretty strict. But I definitely would be the person I am today if that didn't happen. So, like, you know, both my parents, they never made more than $50,000 a year. So, you know, that was like growing up, I thought that was my ceiling. I was like, man, if I make $50,000, like I'm Gucci, I'm good. Like, cause you know, $50,000 in Oklahoma, you can live all right if you're single. Like, I mean, if you're a family, I mean, obviously it's a little different. But you know, so that's kind of what I thought. So I wanted to go into broadcasting when I was in my early 20s. I had I was a broadcasting major. So I wanted to get a degree. I wanted to be on ESPN, be on Sports Center. I'm sure y'all, you know, some of y'all, if y'all didn't want to be an athlete, I'm sure most of y'all wanted to be on ESPN talking about sports. Cause I mean, sports is fun to talk about. Like, I mean, I don't think any of y'all ever wanted to be like a news anchor, like on ABC or something like that. Like, so that's kind of why I did it. And but I didn't realize that when you in the beginning, you making $20,000 a year. You ain't making shit. And I don't know if we can cuss on there or not, but
no, you go. We're not gonna go too overboard before YouTube pulls the plug, but you could throw a little something in there.
Okay, yeah. So you know, I went ahead and did that. And the only reason why I went to college, I'm sure most of y'all went to college, or at least attempted to go to college. I went to college because you know your parents probably thought, you know, okay, if you go to college, you get a degree, you get a good job. Most people know, at least at this point, that's no guarantees. There's a lot of people you know probably going to school that probably working the same dead end job they worked at when y'all were in college. Like and it's a sad thing, but I kind of got stuck in a way, and I felt like, man, like there got to be a better way. I don't want to be, you know, being 40 years old, because you know you see people that you know work with when you were in college, you know, they're 40, 50, 60 years old working the same job you're working, and I'm like, man, for me, I mean, it's not ideal, but it ain't terrible. But for you, like, you gotta do something else, man. Like, cause I don't know how you able to survive. You got a family, you got kids. Some of y'all got grandkids.
Yeah,
you making $12 an hour. Like it's sad, man. It's sad.
Yeah. So when did you start, you know, getting into programming? Your first time that you got introduced to this thing, man?
Yeah, so I got introduced to programming probably after I think it was my junior year in college. I looked into a little bit. I had this little college course. I'm sure most of y'all did some weird course. I think it was like a WordPress course or something like that. I can't remember. And, you know, I saw it because one of my roommates at the time, he was a computer science major. And I was like, man, I want to take a little class to see if I like this, you know, because I didn't know what it was. You know, I think at the time, MySpace was popular. And I wish I was smart like some people, because some people have stories where they talk about they went to, you know, use MySpace and they were able to edit their site and make it look real nice and stuff. I wasn't thinking about that stuff back then. I just was like, man, this looks difficult. You got to be a genius. I thought you had to be some major science, you know, person, because, you know, when you see people on the internet at the time, they ain't like you or me. Like, they're people that they're white guys, you know, kind of boring, don't really have no personality whatsoever. And you're like, man, like, I'm cool. And so I didn't really pursue it after that. I kind of just, you know, put it to the back burner. Cause I still got friends to this day that, you know, they don't really be doing it. But fast forward a little bit, then I probably took maybe another 3 years or so. And like I said, I saw your channel and I saw that you said that you made $100,000. And I was like, man, this guy make $100,000. I said, this guy, because I always say to people, if I see someone that's making a lot of money that isn't too far off than who I am, like based on like your story that you shared, then I'm like, man, I can do it. Like, I don't see any reason why I can't do it. And, you know, it kind of motivated me, because then at that point I was like, man, I know my ceiling I thought was 50,000, but this dude's saying 100,000 that he made. And it didn't take him that long. Like, it wasn't something that it took you 10 years to get that level. I think you said like maybe 3 or 4 years you got to that point. I don't remember. And that was hard to me, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it was more like, you know, probably in my second year. After my second year, I started getting those type of offers. You know, I was already making, you know, like 100 on my first year, but that was because I was doing side income, which is why I tell people, like, hey, man, have some type of extra income on the side, because you always got to remember this. when your first job is not a guarantee that you're going to get paid a lot of money. So if you want to get to a certain point in your life, or you want to have to live a certain lifestyle, right? You want to be able to do that, but your job is not giving you that because you don't have the experience. But that doesn't mean that that's where you stop. You're like, well, I got this job. I'll wait until they give me a raise. It's like, nah, there's other ways to get it for yourself too. So I just really, I did everything. I was doing like freelancing on Craigslist, doing niche websites, doing other things like selling clothes on eBay, putting things on Amazon. Like I was grinding, like sometimes people think, having like a whole bunch of different things that you're doing at the same time can take you away from your main goal. But in reality, it's like it all works together. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially with the skills of being a developer, like you're always on the computer, you're always doing research, you're always Googling things. Like the same time that you're doing that, like you could also be posting, different listings, or hey, let me post on Craigslist. Let me see who could call me. That's an extra 500. That's an extra $1,000 right there. At the end of the year, it adds up. Next thing you know, you're like, oh shoot, I made an extra 40 without even knowing. You know what I mean? Like, but that's how it is, But I'm glad that my story, resonated with you, and that's why I put it out here. Like people could come here and judge, on what I do or who I am, whatever it is, right? Some people like the swag, some people don't like it, some people like the sauce, some people don't like the taste of it. It's okay, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I know that if I talk to 100 people that's in here, 20 of them, or at least 10 to 13 people, I know I'm touching them and I'm giving them that motivation that they need to continue in this career and see like, hey man, if Joe did it, I could do it too, because everything that I try to teach and I talk about is things that we could all achieve and we could touch. You know what I'm saying? Like if I come in here, I tell you guys, hey guys, this is how I became a billionaire. Like that's almost impossible. You know what I'm saying? That's like a lottery winner. You know what I mean? Like somebody say, well, play every day at the lotto. It's like, yeah, one day you could hit it, but what are the chances of you hitting it? Now, if somebody comes in and tells you, hey man, you can make an extra $50,000 by doing these things, you know what I mean? Like that's achievable. That's something that you could touch. I'm very realistic. I'm that type of individual that I could consider myself like a pessimist. Everybody say, damn, Joe, you're so negative. I'm like, I'm not negative. I'm just a realist. So when the good things come to me, we could, get hyped for it. But if it doesn't come, I'm like, I wasn't expecting it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm that type of individual, but I'm really glad that, my example and what I do here, got to you and you got on this pathway of becoming a developer. So, I know you came in, boom, you started, getting interested in programming with our channel, our Coding Phase YouTube channel. And then from there, you came in and you did the mentorship program, which was really cool. For those of you guys that don't know, I used to have a little show here where I will bring in 6 individuals, right? And then give them access to the website, codingphase.com, and give them different tasks every week to test them on like what they learned previously and just try to get them, working and building projects to get them ready for their career. And, Cam was one of them. Cam was probably number 1, number 2 with this kid, Matt, right? So it was 2 of the people that was really there. There was 6 individuals. I don't know what happened to the other 4, but I know Matt right now is working in the UK. Cam is out here doing his thing. So, that was a really great show. Now, after that, what happened? Where did you go? What you started doing, after the mentorship program?
Yeah. So that was like probably, honestly, after that time was probably the hard. I mean, outside of this year's been crazy, but outside of this year, this next probably 2 or 3 years is probably the toughest years of my life. Because if anyone who doesn't know, my dad passed away this year, but at the time, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, like maybe about a year after the mentorship the thing happened. So like I pretty much dropped everything I was doing, and I spent the next 6 months in the hospital with him. Like he was real sick. Like people said he only had a year to live at the time, and this was like maybe about 7 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. So, I know my timeline is kind of weird, but I think that's what happened. But
Yeah. So I mean, we're talking about, what happened after the mentorship. So the mentorship program was like what, 2018, 2019, right?
yeah,
So what happened after that? What did you do? Where you started learning how to code? What projects you started working? Because I know after that came the journey of a Lambda. So I want to see what happened between that gap between doing the mentorship program and before you went to Lambda.
yeah. So I was in Louisiana for a minute. I was selling vacuums door to door, like because I needed to. Because like I said before, like when I saw your journey, I was like, man, because at the time I was working like a job where I was making like $8 an hour before I sold vacuums. And I was like, man, I'm tired of this minimum wage. Oklahoma, the minimum wage is like $8 an hour. So I was like, man, I'm tired of making this low amount of money. I got to do something to make some money, some cash, while I'm still trying to learn how to code, because I need, so I went ahead and did this. I found this job on Craigslist selling vacuum. They said the guarantee was $1,200 a week. All you got to do is clean 15 carpets and you get your $1,200 guarantee. And I was like, man, I bet I could do this because I don't even know if I even told you the story. My dad and me and my brothers, he had a cleaning business. So we would do commercial buildings. Like we would clean like police stations, churches, all this different stuff. And it was like we had big contracts. So I'm already used to cleaning. So cleaning is like, if I can make $1,200 doing what I've already done when I was a kid, like this is nothing. And I didn't realize that there were stipulations. When you go in, the first
they always get you. They always get you. They get you hyped. They're like, hold on, come through. We got you. You're gonna make 1,200. When you get there, they're like, wait, hold on. Now you gotta sell the vacuums too. You gotta do the you gotta do the carpets, and you gotta sell the vacuum.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, most people don't read the contracts, and this is like just a life lesson in general. Like, like pretty much like from that point forward, I always read contract. I do anything I do, I have a contract. I don't care what it is, because like I saw the contract, and some people, obviously they bring anybody in. Like, I mean, they bring felons. It don't matter who it is. Like, they just want people to bodies that they can sell these vacuums to. And so I read it, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna give it a shot anyways, because I'm not making that much money in my other job anyway. So even if I don't make anything the first month, I can back out and go back to what I was doing. So I was like, I'm gonna go and try this out. I sold, I think my first vacuum, like the first week, I made like $300. Like, and then I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I didn't make $1,200, but I saw people that are making big money. I'm talking about people making like $2,000, $3,000 in a day. I'm like, man, if I can make $2,000, shit, if I can make $1,000 in a day, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So after that, right? So you was there, and was that in Oklahoma too?
It started in Oklahoma, and then from there I went to Louisiana for a little bit, and then my mom, like, she's never been a person that likes me doing stuff that's like unconventional, like, because she's not an entrepreneurial person. So anytime I'm a risk taker, like, I mean, you already know this by now. Like, we've had conversations. I do stuff that most people would never do, but I feel like, and this is something I'll tell anyone. This is a small little gem before we get back to my story. Shoot, anytime you do something that's crazy, it sounds crazy to other people, that means you're on the right track. You may not, whatever you're doing right now may not be what's going to get you to that level where you want to be, but you'll get there. Just stay the course. Don't listen to other people. You got to follow your plan. Follow your plan no matter what. So the mistake I made when I did this job was I listened to the noise, and I should have stayed doing that on top of learning web development. Because then once my dad, he was pretty much on his last days, I've had to move back home, back to Oklahoma. And that's when I worked at Goodwill. And I don't know if you know the story. I first made barely above what I was making before I took the sales job. So it was like $8.50 an hour. So I feel like I was going backwards.
Yeah. So now you're over there in Oklahoma, back at it again, and in the shitty jobs, right? And then you're like, man, I gotta do something. So when do you decide, hey, I'm gonna go to Lambda. I'm gonna go to Lambda and I'm gonna go try this program.
Yeah, so after like maybe a year of me doing the working at the thrift store, I saw an opportunity. I saw Lambda School, and I was like, I knew about boot camps before that, and I thought about it a couple times, but the money was way too much. Like I think there were like two other times that they give you these emails, they do email blasts like, oh, it costs $15,000 to do this boot camp, but if you pay $1,000 down, $2,000 down, we reserve a spot and you can get in. And I'm like, that's too much money. Like, I don't know. Like, if it don't work out, I'm out $2,000 or $1,000, whatever it is. So I never did it. But then I saw Lambda, and I know most of y'all know Josh Fluke. I saw his video on there. He had some guy from Lambda that was talking about his journey, and I was like, man, he said you don't have to pay nothing up front. Like, I have nothing to lose. I'm barely making.
That's when they got him. They say,
yeah.
Give me that. Josh said, give me that. Scoop.
Because the thing is,
the 3-point line.
Yeah, the thing is, I was not making hardly any money. So
it's like you ain't got nothing to lose. You're like, yo, I might as well give this a try. And at the same time, because for those of you guys that don't know about Lambda, the trick of it is they tell you, hey man, we're gonna allow you to come in. You don't have to pay nothing if you don't get hired. How many years is it that if you don't get hired as a developer, you don't have to pay nothing?
I think it's 5 years is the contract on there.
Yeah, so it's 5 years. Now, to be honest with you, if you're going to become a developer, right, you already have that set in your mind. So it's like you already made the decision that you're going to become a developer. You're not going to say, you know what, I'm not going to become a developer, or I'm not going to start applying for developer jobs within the next 5 years. So for those of you guys that's like, yo, I'm gonna try to game the system, you're not gonna sit down for 5 years waiting like, yo, I'm not trying to pay that bill, but they're gonna get you at the end of the day, you know what I mean? But regardless, it is an attractive offer. They tell you, hey man, you come in, it's completely free. Once you get paid, how much is it that they take a certain percentage of your check or something like that, right?
Yeah, like 17%.
17% until you pay off your pay off your debt. So I don't know how much is it, like 14, 17,000 or something like that. At a max.
Yeah, I think the max now is like 30 or something like that. But that's up to that. Like, I mean, obviously you're not gonna pay that much if you get paid like $50,000 a year. But I think if it's like 100,000 or something like that, the max is like 30 for you or something like that. But
yeah, so they're like, yo, we gotta eat.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's cool. So tell us, how was your experience on Lambda? I mean, you've been there for what, like now a year and a half in Lambda?
Yeah, like a year and a half, almost 2 at this point. Yeah. So like, yeah, my Lambda journey has kind of been interesting because, most people will tell you, I'll always tell you all the good things about Lambda, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. But so, like Lambda school, like I felt like the full stack, the whole the whole full stack part of the curriculum, amazing. Like I feel like I learned a lot. I had great people that like helped me get through certain situations, certain times that I probably wouldn't have got through on my own. Because the thing about Lambda, I think the most valuable thing about the whole boot camp experience, at least for Lambda school, is the community. All the people that are like willing to help you out, like no matter what, like because if you on your own, sometimes like you can have people that help you, but unless you like in a community like maybe coding phase, most of the other communities, they're not going to be like willing to go out of their way to help you out, because they're trying to get a job too. They don't. Some people don't feel like they need to help other people because they're like, man, like you're on your own.
Buddy. Yeah. I got my own shit going on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't got time to help other people. Yeah, luckily for us here at Coding Phase, one of the best thing about the community is like people try to help each other out, right? Of course, just like in anything in life is, to a certain limit. Sometimes people come to a Coding Phase or to like the ASAP developers group. Like I just recently had to kick some dude out because he put a question on like at 3:30, and then by 3:35, nobody's gonna help me out. And yo, my dude, here's the boot. It's like, here's the boot, my dude. Get out of here, bro. Like you're in the wrong community. People don't stop doing what they're doing to come and just help you right there instantly. It's like people's gonna get back to you. There's other things that you could be doing, or even you trying to figure out your own problems. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people don't understand that, like going through the problems of being stuck somewhere is actually good, because then you got to do research on things that you didn't know or things that you didn't get to pay attention within a course. And then now by you doing the research, now you understand the, you know, the freaking thing behind the freaking you know, behind the freaking curtain. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Behind the curtain, you get what I'm saying? Like, you can see what's behind it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're taking a course, you're seeing something on a framework or something like that, and then you might see a problem that you've never saw. You're like, man, on-court type or something like that, whatever it could be, whatever error or console log error that you might get, and you might never have seen that before. But if you just take a second, look at the error, go in there, copy and paste that error, put it on Google, right? Somebody has asked the same question that you're asking to other people. So, you know, sometimes people don't understand that literally everything that you're getting stuck on, other people have gotten stuck on the same way too. So it's just about doing your Googles. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people don't understand that, but you know, thank God in the community, we try to help people out as much as we can, you know. But yeah, man, I think that's one of the best things of like boot camps that I believe is like, you know, actually good, which is if you have a community of developers and people that really want it, that are dedicated, and then there's people that could be more talented than others or have more experience than others, and then they could come in and help the other person and say, you know what, let me break this down. Because even if the instructor is not teaching it the right way or teaching it in a way where he can't grasp it, at least another student could come back and break it down, but like, let me dumb it down for you, you know, so you have somebody there next to you, you know what I mean? So that's like the best parts of boot camps. You know, I always say to people, like, me personally, I don't think that you need a boot camp, because I've seen so many people that do it without it, and then it's just the price. You get what I'm saying? Like, even like right now, you just told me Lambda, they might get you up to 30. That's crazy to me. In my head, I'm like, bro, I'm not giving 30 when I could freaking get this shit out here. You go to codingphase.com and get that shit for like $20, bro. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I do want to mention when my boy Cam got into Lambda, we didn't even have all the courses. We didn't even have a full stack.
Yeah.
We had maybe the HTML, CSS course, and that's it. You know, we're talking about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, you know, when Cam got into Lambda and everything. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I think it's a good move, you know. You know, you're doing your own thing over there, right? You're learning. You also got into a network with other people, which is great. You know, I always see you either like meeting up with other Lambda students. So I always, you know, always think that that's the positive side of, you know, being in a boot camp. But so let's continue with that. So as far as you going to Lambda, then, you know, you've been there for a year. What happened with, I forgot what happened with, you had a situation with your team, and that was like a project that you needed to continue doing the next stage. I don't know if you remember that, Cam. Cam, you still here? Cam. Cam zoned out. Yeah, man. I don't know if Cam could hear anything right now, or maybe he just went out the live stream, or Lambda came in and pulled the plug and say, hold on, let's stop this right now. Right. But shout out to my boy Cam. He back.
Hey, it was good. No, my internet was tripping for a second.
Yeah, man. So I was saying that, what was it that happened after? Okay, so you was there for a little bit. And then I remember you had that situation where your team, and I want to point this out. This happens in every level, guys. Like, it doesn't matter if you're working at a major company, or you're working with a local group, or you're working with like your best friend. Like, this happens all the time. So share that story that happened with you over there at Lambda.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, because that's exactly where I was gonna go next. So I think this moment is like one that probably changed like my whole trajectory on like how I thought of everything. And I probably learned more in this one experience than I've ever learned before this point. But at the time, I was really frustrated because I was on a team. We worked on a project together. And, you know, anytime you're working on a team, there are going to be some developers that will be better than others. You know, that's just how it is. You're going to have some people that are really strong and other ones that are kind of a little bit weaker. But the key on having a strong team is finding out where you can put people in the proper spots for them to succeed. And I think that's and also I think what hurt us the most in this situation was we tried to learn all these new different parts of a tech stack, and we never knew this beforehand. So we were spending so much time trying to learn new technologies that if we would have just maybe learned maybe one or two new things implemented on top of what we were trying to build, it would have made things a lot smoother. And on top of that, we had two different people that were leaders on our team. Like we had someone that was like a TL, which is like kind of like a project manager for labs. That's what's called Lambda Labs. It's like, it's like pretty much a project manager. So we had two different project managers. We had one maybe the first 4 or 5 weeks, and then we had another one that took over the project. So when you have someone else takes over, unless you have someone that's really strong as a leader, it's going to take you maybe a week or two to be able to understand what's the scope of the project, what people are doing, and then you have to pretty much do everything all over again, essentially. Because that person doesn't know what people are good at. They just are going by what people are saying. And the problem with our team was people were not communicating. I got frustrated because I felt like I was communicating so much, and there was days where I wouldn't hear a peep from nobody.
So let's break it down. So in Lambda, they gave you guys a project that you guys need to collaborate and work with each other. Okay. And then when you guys got this project, the people that was in your team was not communicating. That was one of the main problems. And also the fact that y'all was trying to create something with new tech stacks or new technologies or frameworks or languages that you guys have never used before. So my question is, let's start from the first one. Why did you guys have to use something that you guys didn't use before? I mean, like, let's say, for example, if I'm learning PHP Laravel, I'm doing my project in PHP Laravel, right? Was it something that out of, from the scope where you say, okay, now we got to learn this other framework to be able to complete the project? Or was it somebody made the decision, hey guys, let's learn the new Teletubby framework or something,
Yeah. So I'm gonna just say this right now, and this is why all the labs teams now it's structured. By the way, this is I honestly can tell you it's because of what happened with us. So what happened was we got cute. We got too cute. We were like, man, we're gonna learn something new because Lambda's only teaching us this. We're gonna learn something. All this new stuff, and we're having nice.
Can you go technically? Like, what exactly was it that you guys were working on? Like, what was the new thing that you guys were trying to use?
Yeah, so pretty much like everything. Like we were trying to deploy it with the cloud, right? So we were trying to learn all this AWS stuff. AWS, it's not easy to learn. No. So that alone, we set ourselves up for failure just on that. Like, and I think if we would have had someone to tell us, no, that's not a good idea, it would have moved a lot smoother. But we didn't know. We didn't know how hard it was to learn this stuff.
Yeah. It's like, hold on, we got this on a weekend.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're like, yo, there's guys with 6 months of experience and they still can't get the certification on AWS. Like, you're like, yo, we got this on a weekend. All right, cool. So y'all try to do that. So what was your project on? Was it like Node.js, Express, MongoDB, React?
Yeah, so it was React, GraphQL. GraphQL was another one that we really didn't know because they didn't teach that. But that GraphQL isn't that hard to learn, so that really wasn't an issue. Yeah. So mainly it was like we separated everything from the front and the back, and so the back end we were using Node. We were going to use AWS, and we we're going to use I think we use MongoDB. I think that was what we used for the database thing, but we didn't know Mongo either. Like Lambda teaches not MySQL, but SQLite.
Okay,
so yeah, so SQL. So we didn't want to go SQL because I know there's issues sometimes using like SQL on certain things, and we were like, yeah, MongoDB is probably better for what we were trying to do. I forgot what the app we were trying to build. That's how bad it was. It was so bad I try to forget what even we were trying to build with
it. So then, okay, cool. So basically, try to create something that you guys have never created before, and then on top of that, using things that you guys have never used before, and nobody really had experience with it. Because it's fine, this is a mistake that a lot of people do, even in big teams. So let's say, for example, you guys can choose to pick something that the majority of you guys don't know how to use, but at least somebody in the team needs to know it. So he could be the go-to guy for that specific task. Like, let's say AWS. Like, if you don't know how to use AWS, you shouldn't be using AWS for a project that's supposed to be due in 2-3 weeks from now, right? Like, and if nobody's in there, it's like an expert, like nobody knows how to use this. Okay, cool. Let's go back to Heroku. Let's go back to DigitalOcean. Let's go back to, freaking Namecheap.com. You know what I mean? Keep it simple, right? It's the KISS. That's why it's the KISS right there. You got to keep it simple, stupid. You know what I mean? Nothing for you, Cam, but I'm saying overall, that's the mentality. That's the mentality that people got to always keep it. I try to do that for myself. Like, when I'm trying to build something, I'm like, if I feel like I'm already going on a path where I'm like, let's challenge ourselves. You know what I mean? Because sometimes as developers, we'll be like, let's challenge ourselves. When there's a deadline, you can't be challenging yourself. You got to go for the things that is already like mastered, where you're like, okay, we already got experience with this. Let's jump on this. That's it. Sometimes people do that and be like, I want to get a challenge. It's like, okay, now we're going to have fucking bugs. We're going to have all type of crazy shit going on that we've never seen, and we won't be able to meet the deadline. And this happens not only at a small level, it happens on big companies too, right? That's why you have like real experienced project managers that come in. Sometimes the developers be like, oh, I can't stand a project manager. Sometimes developers need project managers for that specific reason, because if some guy comes in and says, we're going to build this with Node.js, and then some guy comes up out of nowhere, nah, man, the Teletubby framework just came out yesterday, and we could use Dino.js for the backend, and then we could also use the CouchDB, and then from there we could somehow connect this shit to AWS cousin who just had a kid with Google Cloud. Let's go with that, right? Nobody has ever used that. Now you're building an application for a client, for the company, and you're trying to launch this by a certain date. There's a whole bunch of bugs, and nobody can answer hey, how can we fix this? Because nobody knows it. So then now what do? Do you just scrap everything, or do you just, try to fix those problems? A lot of times what happens is you're going to have to scrap everything. Like, at least the concepts and the ideas that you already created, you could pretty much do copy and paste here and there. But a lot of times you're going to have to just redo the whole project from scratch. That has happened to me at least 3 times in like big companies, like literally. And because people that are a little bit more senior than you, they get hyped because they saw a video or they saw a conference. Hey, we should use the Teletubby framework that just came out. It's going to save us 15 milliseconds. Let's jump on that, right? And then next thing you know, they don't even know it. I'm like, yo, why are you choosing things that you don't even know? But that's how it is. So then from there, let's go into, right, you guys got over that, and then you had to go and communicate with each other. And that was another big problem.
Yep. So the communication, like, I think from the rip was just bad, just because, what we try to do is, and I think it's still smart, what we did was we had everything separate. I know I mentioned we had a front end team and we had a back end team.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a couple people that were kind of stragglers. Like, they kind of were like, they weren't really in one way or the other. And I think that was the problem. We didn't really have tasks for them, so they kind of like were jumping in different days on the different teams, and like that's a recipe for disaster, because you'll have people that will be pushing stuff up, and you already worked on it, and I'm like, man, what are you doing, man? Like, I already worked on this, like so that's why a lot of times, like, I open the Zoom call and I'll be like, hey man, we're doing a Zoom first thing before we start on anything today, and I think like I was like, at the end of it, I became like one of the leaders, even though I was not elected to be a leader, because on our team, we had our project manager, right? But then we had a project manager wanted to elect someone else to be the leader. So we had a vote. And obviously I didn't get voted to be the leader. If I would have been the leader, maybe things would have worked out differently. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But it just, man, that was just not enough communication. And when it's part-time, people have jobs. So I understand. So I didn't want to be the asshole that'd be like, hey man, like, why aren't you pushing stuff up? Because I see people's, pull requests and their commits and stuff. And I see some people that didn't even make a single commit for weeks. And by the way, this is a 16-week project, by the way. 16 weeks. If it's week 8 and you still haven't committed nothing, that's an issue. And that should have been brought up way.
Yeah, whoever was the manager at the time, whoever was the leader, should have been like, okay, what you doing? Like every 2-3 days, like that's your job. You get what I'm saying? Like that's your job to make sure that everybody's working. You can't just come in and say, well, I'm working in the authentication side of things, and it's like, I'll see you guys 2 months from now. Like you can't do that. You got to be pushing constantly so you could get the new updates, new things get added to the website, and you can see if there's bugs within your code now that people have added new changes to it. You get what I'm saying? But that whole team was a recipe for disaster. Like you guys were just crazy, man. But to me, that's crazy. That so I'm just thinking about, wasn't there like they gave you a project to do? Because you know, when you was telling me about the story, this is another thing that really had me pissed off about Lambda, because I'm like, you know, you guys have like this final project that you guys got to work on. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, don't you guys have an instructor that's what they're supposed to be like overlooking for that situation for you guys, in the sense of like that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, okay, if I'm getting myself in a $17,000 to $30,000 debt, there better be a guy that when I say, yo, what up? He's there. You know what I mean? Like, was there nobody there that could really go in and overlook what you guys were doing? Because you can't just waste, how many weeks was it? Like 2 weeks? No, like a month or two that you guys wasted.
It was more than that, but yeah. So like, we'll talk about that in a second. So we have a guy that is in charge of all the teams, like make sure that all this stuff goes. But it's only one guy. When you have 12 different teams, you got to watch over.
Yeah.
You can't check in every week on every single team. It's impossible, because there's more than one cohort that they're like looking over. So it may be 3 or 4 at the same time. So it's really on the person who's the team lead, which is kind of the project manager. Is really their responsibility to communicate with the person who's in charge of all the the labs teams. Be like, hey man, the fires. There's a fire going out. We need to make sure that stuff is going on. Yeah, we have Trello boards, by the way. Yeah, but Trello don't work. Trello don't work if the team is disorganized. It does not work.
Trello's there, bro. The board is blank. You know what I mean? If nobody's writing on it, Trello's useless. Trello's not gonna write itself. You know?
Yeah, because we had 2 weeks. No, I think it was 4 weeks for part-time. So part-time has 4 weeks to plan everything out, by the way. So the first 4 weeks, you have your Trello board you're supposed to do. You have your trying to figure out the scope of the project. You have trying to figure out what the release cycles you have. So you break it down so you know exactly how much time, in theory, it should take you to do it. But since we never used none of these technologies before, for the most part, we're just guessing. But if you already done that stuff before, you already know. Say, okay, I've already worked on this stuff before, worked on something similar. I think it can take us 4 weeks to get this done, because you only have to do 2 release cycles. Yeah, 2 release cycles to pass. So what you really want to do is do basic MVP. Like, it don't have to be nothing sexy. Don't have to be a sexy looking app. Just an app that does exactly what it's supposed to do. And then on the 3rd release cycle, then you go ahead and add the nice looking things, because more often than not, unless you got a super team, you're not going to have the best looking app, in 16 weeks, because you're working 3 hours a day for 16 weeks. It's not like you're working all day on it, unless you got people that are on your team that are working, all day and all night because they don't have no job or something. That's one thing we made a mistake on. And I think that's something that hopefully anyone who's watching at home, I don't know where you're watching this at, try not to go too crazy on it. Yeah, it's a crazy story, man. I'm not even done with it yet, by the way.
Shout out to Julio Segarra. Julio, I moved from Connecticut. We in Florida now, kid. I haven't seen my boy Julio in a long time, man. Shout out to you, man. But listen, man, so let's go into what happens after, okay? So we're talking about 3 months. What was it? 3 months or 4 months that you guys were working on this project. You had to scrap the whole project, and
Yeah.
then from there you had to start all over again.
Yeah,
And
so let me let me go back a little bit before we get to start over again. So, and
okay,
this is the best part of it. That's why I'm telling y'all this, because this is the most important piece right here. So, we had a meeting before we had to scrap everything, and pretty much I had to restart from the beginning on another team. So, we had a secret surprise meeting. I got blindsided, by the way. So, I was like, man, like we got like 4 more weeks left. You know, I've been doing this for 3 months. We have 1 more month left, somewhere around that. And I was like, okay, man, if we go hard, you know, we can probably get this done. But everybody got to be like committed.
yeah,
Like we got to spend more than 3 hours a day. We got to spend like weekends, you know, to get this done, or we're not going to get it done. And I don't know about y'all. I told them this. I said, I don't know about y'all. I'm not trying to do this all over again. I already spent 3 months. I don't want to spend another 4 months to, you know, to do the same thing I just did. And there's no guarantee I want to be on a team that's going to be better than the team I'm on. I even thought about quitting Lambda like during this whole time, by the way. Like I was about done. Like because I saw some people on my team that just were just straight lazy. And anybody that knows me, Joe can probably vouch for me too. I'm not a lazy guy. I've never heard no one tell me I was a lazy person. So when I see people that just aren't trying, it irritates me. And the TL that we had pretty much said, "Hey man, we're gonna have a meeting with the person who's in charge of this, by the way." So I knew it was bad. I was like, "Oh man, it's not good if we're having a meeting," because we have not talked to this guy at all during this whole labs experience. But this is the first time we talked to him.
3 months later, it's like, you guys okay? Like,
yeah.
Y'all was like team 11. There's 12 teams. Yeah, like team 11. The guy didn't get to you guys till 3 months later.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I'm not trying to throw anybody in the bus either, by the way. Like it just like it was crazy. Like it was already the house was about to burn down at this point. So it was like this ain't good. So I knew like based on how he was talking, because I guess my TL wasn't supposed to tell me this, by the way. He like private messaged me. He's like, you know, we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow. We're gonna talk about stuff. And I was like, man, what was happening? He didn't really tell me what was happening, but I have a sixth sense for this type of thing. Usually when I know something is gonna happen, I'm usually right about it. So we had a meeting, and pretty much what it was fighting for us to keep the project. That's really what the meeting was about. I went first because I knew I was the most passionate about it. I knew that I was the one more than anybody else that wanted to stick through it, because I said, man, you know, I know we can do it. So I said my piece. I was real passionate, like my voice was cracking up because I was really upset, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to like say something that will ruin any chance of us sticking the project. Like if I knew I would have to start over, I would have just said whatever. All gloves would have been off. I may have messed around and got kicked out. Like that's how bad it was for me. Like I was really mad, and I was like, I said my piece, and then there was someone else after me. I forgot what he said, but he pretty much said something along the lines where he don't think that we'd be able to finish it, and I was like, man. This is the first time you voiced any opinions about the scope of what we were doing, and you're supposed to be the person that's in charge of like not really the leader. He's supposed to be the leader, but he's not you're not the project manager, but he's like the person that was elected to be the leader.
No,
and you're voicing these concerns now.
Now my thing is, for the project manager, you say that this is TLs, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened with those guys? What's their responsibility on this? Because are they supposed to be the project manager needs to oversee in certain things that need to get done weekly and say, okay, this is where the application's at. So you're telling me the leader wasn't speaking and the project manager wasn't on top of you guys, and then you don't have the instructor, the guy that is really like above even the project manager wasn't even giving you guys attention. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. It was like I said, man, after that moment, everything it got better. But yeah, like that whole experience like was bad. And like there was a couple people that was in this meeting, by the way, that were like, man, what you said was cool. I almost changed my mind. If we'd have had more people to do it, it'd have been cool. Because I was the only one that wanted to continue the project out of the whole team. Only person. Like, you know how crazy it is? Everybody gave up on the fence. He was like neutral, and there's another guy that I think if there had been more people, he would have maybe been outside of that. But there was like maybe 8 of us, but I was the only one that was like, committed to do it. And at that point, he said the guy who's in charge of all the teams was like, we're just gonna have to you have to start over, go flex, make sure y'all are on different teams, yada yada yada. And I was like, I probably messaged the guy and was like, hey man, let's have a meeting, you and me, because I still wasn't giving up. Like that's how like committed I was.
Of course. I mean, for those of you guys that don't know, without this project, technically you can't graduate Lambda. So then at the same time, this put Cam and set him back 3 months behind when he was supposed to graduate. Same thing. Now he has to do a project for the next 4 months again. So imagine this. That's a 7-month project. What was supposed to take, how long was the basically the whole course or curriculum for Lambda? How long was that supposed to take you in total?
18 months originally.
How many months?
18 months originally.
18 months originally. So then now adding with the 3-4 months, and in total we're talking about what, like 2 years basically.
Yep. With holidays and everything. Yep.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. So I mean, and I don't want to throw Lambda under the bus. They're already under the bus. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, it's not. I mean, honestly,
we can't put it. We can't even put it on that.
Completely their fault. Like that.
No. Look, we're not gonna say it's completely their fault, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, man. To me, that's why I was tight. And even at moments, because I heard from you and I heard from a couple of people situations where now they have to stay longer or whatever it is, and I'm like, bro, people have shit to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got goals, you got things that you want to get to, and at the end of the day, it was really more the people that you were in group with, right? Because I'm sure people that go to Lambda, they fall into the right group and they have amazing stories, right? Yep. But then now you fall into this crazy group and you're working as a team with people that are not working as hard as you. So now you got to pay the price for them. That's where it's like, to me, I'm like, that's a broken system in that part. It's like, you shouldn't have to be working on a project with a group unless, that should be like a optional, because in reality, it's like that whole working with a group. I've done that before. I remember when I was going to college, right? And I was doing programming systems. To graduate, I had to do something similar to that. Now, the people that was on my team, luckily we had one guy that was okay, another girl that was really smart, but then we had like 3 other dudes that they were just like, we just dragging them. We just like, imagine a dead body, just like, and you're just grabbing them by the legs and you're trying to make it to graduate. Like, I don't think that works anymore, man, because there's people that's just lazy. Imagine if people be like, well, okay, guys, I'm going to put Ramsey Jordan, Parth Patel, Robert, Tony, and AP Music. We're going to put them in a team. Nobody graduates until everybody gets their shit together. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, now we got to wait for this clown. So little things like that. That's, I'm like, man, that's not, to me, I'm like, it's not worth it, man. But it's crazy though. I mean, and where you at now with Lambda, so we can move on from this topic.
Yeah, so let me kind of fast forward a little bit. So I do feel that that experience helped me when I became a TL and did pretty much the same thing that I was in my situation as a student, and I learned like how to be making sure that my students that I had, that they would make sure that they succeed. Because my thing is like, I want to get you to a level where you're better than me. So anything that I see that went wrong during my experience when I went through the same curriculum that they did, I made sure that the students I had when they started from the very beginning, they wouldn't have to go through that. So like, I learned a whole lot from my bad experiences, and I think everyone who's listening, you should always like take anything, whether it's good or bad, you can get something out of it. that's like a mindset that I've always had, because some people, they have a situation like that, they quit and they're done. Like they won't ever do web development ever again. And it's not really because of them, it's just because of like just bad situations, just bad stuff.
Yeah. You got to take everything, as a learning experience. And now you're more prepared. I feel like now you're more prepared because now when you go to a real company, you working as a team, it's like, yo, this already happened to me. So you already seen the red flags and you're like, hold on, somebody got to be on top of this. This dude is not pushing any changes. This guy is not working. There's no communication. We got to huddle up and let's talk about this. Let's get this shit done. We got a deadline in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So definitely, you always got to look at it in a positive way. Somebody had a good question in here. Somebody said, Tony Valentine, bro, I'm in Lambda now. Are you talking about Build Week?
No, so this is after Build Week. So Build Week is similar to what you're talking about. Build Week is like 1 week or 2 weeks if you're part-time, but Labs is like 16 weeks. So Labs is like pretty much Build Week on steroids, because Build Week, you have like a set project that you're building and other people have already built a similar project before. With Labs, you're either building a brand new project or a build on. So it's a project that only one team has, or 2 teams or whatever have ever worked on that same project. It's not like, with Build Weeks where it's like you're starting a code base from scratch all the time, but it's the same project that someone else from a previous cohort has built. So it's a different experience, because I think it's easier to start from a brand new project than doing a build on. Because when I was a student, I only did build ons. The first time, with a build on, obviously, if it was an add-on, we probably would have passed a lot if it would have been an add-on for the first experience. But the second time, I was, the same thing. It was a complete from scratch, and I was a leader on that team because I had the bad experience, and I pretty much told them, I said, hey, whatever happens, I'm gonna drive this shit. I want to make sure that we get to the finish line. I don't care who is not doing that, pulling their weight. I'm gonna drag us to the end. I don't care if I have to stay up late. I'm not failing Labs again. I'm not spending seven months, and then having, because if that happens, I'm done. I'm out of Lambda. Like that's it. That's why I told my team. I was like, so they pretty much appreciated that thing. Having someone that has, that experience in Labs is huge, because you've already been through it. You can tell people kind of what to do without kind of being like that guy that's like acting like the TL or the project manager when you're not the project manager, because sometimes that's an issue. Like if you have someone on a team that tries to act like they're in charge when someone else is in charge. So I kind of wanted to kind of be careful on like trying not to do too much. And I would even ask the project manager, hey man, you mind if I like kind of take over and kind of help out a little bit? I like private message them to make sure it was good, because you don't want to be that guy, because nobody works for a guy that people don't like or respect. And if that was my team, the second team I had, they really weren't that skilled in my personal opinion, but I still helped them out. I said, hey man, let's work on this together. Or they ask for feedback. Say, hey, what do you think of this? I'm like, man, this, we should probably not do this right here, but maybe if we have time, we can go ahead and do this later. So I kind of was one of the leaders, even though I wasn't the best developer on this team, by the way. There was a couple of people on this second team that were really, 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 really good. But I felt like I stepped up as that guy that kind of made sure that things kind of went the way they should have went. Because there was one guy that was spending like all day and night. I swear he was always pushing stuff up. And I was like, hey, man, like, I swear every time I'm waking up, you're pushing stuff up. Like, I appreciate it, but you're making me look bad. But I like that because the first time I had nobody like that. I was the guy that was doing that. So the second time I was like, man, I don't want to work too hard early on because I'm going to burn myself out, because this is, already been 4 months of me working on this thing at this point, and I got another 3 months to go.
Now, are you guys done with that second round of this project? You guys finished that?
Yeah. We passed it. Yeah, I made sure we passed it, but we definitely passed that. Yeah.
So now, where you at, to finalize this whole Lambda journey and story? Where you at now? Because I remember you were supposed to be done already.
Yep.
Now, how much longer do you still have?
So I technically have if everything works out, let me see. I think 2 months. If I look at my schedule right, I think it's 2 months. You know, the part time always throws me off because the full time and part time, like I was a TL for full time, and then I was a student for part time, so it always throws me off. But I think it's like 2 months left I got for it if everything works out. So and that's computer science, which computer science, I mean, anyone doesn't know, it's all the theory, the algorithms, all that stuff, and that's a different beast altogether. But now Lambda has it where you do computer science before you go to lab. So by the time you get to labs, that's your last thing for everything.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. No, that's what's up, man. So about when do you think is graduation? When do we pop some bottles for Cam on graduating from Lambda?
Oh man. So hopefully, we do it in November. Hopefully, if everything works out. But I don't want to say the date because you just never know. Something happened.
Listen, man, can everybody do finger cross? Put the finger cross emoji for Cam. We want to get him to get out of Lambda as soon as possible. Okay. But shit happens,
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that, even on myself that I look back, I'm like, man, I could have gotten a whole different route. I could have gotten my shit earlier. I don't know if I told you guys, like when I was graduating from school, I wasted a whole year because the school didn't want to give me my degree until I got an internship. And then they couldn't find me an internship I was supposed to graduate. Imagine this. I was supposed to graduate in 2011, right? In 2011, right? And then I was supposed to get a internship by September of 2011 so I could graduate on fall, right? On winter, right? The end of winter. Okay, so it would have been like January of 2012. So I didn't find an internship on that time. They didn't find me one either. They couldn't find me one on springtime of 2012. They couldn't find me one in wintertime of 2012. And then I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, yo, y'all supposed to get me the internship, this, and that. And like, oh, so many students, so many this and that. I'm like, yo, I'm waiting for my degree. And they're like, man, we can't give you your degree. And then somebody else from outside of the office just screamed out, are you working in the industry yet? And I'm like, yeah, I've been working in the industry for a year and a half. So there you go. That's it. That's your internship. And I was like, yo, I just wasted a whole year that I could have gotten my degree, which stopped me from getting my bachelor's, right? For me starting my bachelor's degree, right? Because you can't go into the next 4-year school without your associate's degree. So I'm like, yo, this whole thing just messed me up for a whole year. So at the end of the day, what can you do? You just literally learn from it, right? And just be like, hey man, it is what it is. Sometimes, not everybody's gonna have that happy ending, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. What can we do? Now, again, Cam, we wish you good luck with everything that you're doing out there, man. People asking, is Cam working right now? He's gonna get there. He already going to a lot of interviews. He's doing his thing out here. He already has experience as a TL. Was it TA or TL?
Yeah, a TL is pretty much like a TA, except during labs, which is like a project manager mainly. And I got a startup that I'm working on too. I can't really talk about it too much, but it's in real estate, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
That's another big project that I'm working on.
Nice. Yeah, man. So let's get away from all this coding shit, man. Now let's get into the real things, man. Real topics. So again, guys, welcome to the Back at It Again podcast. If you guys don't know, this is a new format. You're gonna see this on every platform, from Spotify to Apple to Stitcher to the whole shebang, right? Wherever you go and check out your favorite podcast, you're going to be able to listen to our podcast there from now on, okay? Especially for those of you guys that miss the live streams, etc., right? Not every live stream I'm going to make a podcast, but whenever you see the title Back at It Again, that means we're on a podcast mode, all right? So I actually want to make this podcast to be something interesting, something that is not just coding. As you can see, we talk about Cam's childhood, right? we went back. He had PTSD real quick. He saw dad with the like, yo, come over here, boy. Why you drop that cup? You know, we brought him back, right? At the same time, we talk about the developer journey, right? We talk about how he got into coding, programming, how he used our channel to, get that motivation. Then from there, because of situations, jumped into Lambda. Shout out to Josh from the 3-point line. Josh is the boot camp Stojakovic. You know what I mean? He just gets him and just whoop back to Lambda. You know what I mean? Backed them up, right? So ended up at Lambda, had a crazy situation, and then from there now he's doing his thing. But again, with this podcast, I want to also add other topics and other things that's happening currently. So like that, we could always, spice it up. So it's not just programming. I think we took a long time talking about Lambda. We gave them free promo, but you know what I mean? Lambda, send me a check. You know what I mean? Sponsor the channel, right? But again, I want to talk about the debates, man. Like, I don't know if you saw it last night. And for anybody that's listening to this in the future or watching this in the future, right now we are today's Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. Okay. So this is literally the day after the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and good old Joe Biden, right? I mean, there you see the debate. Cam, how was it for you, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just say it right now. I didn't watch the debate, by the way. I did.
I saw the highlights.
No, I did see the highlights, and I did watch Twitter. Like Twitter, pretty like anybody who ever is on Twitter, like it'll tell you everything you know about the debate. Like you don't have to watch the whole thing, because my thing is like, unless it's somebody that I'm like really high on. Like I think the last candidate I was really high on was Obama when he first got elected the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, Obama, he's first black president. Man, I'm gonna watch everything. I'm gonna be like on top of it. And then, like when he got elected, I was kind of underwhelmed. Like it was kind of one of those things where I was like, hey, he did all right. But I feel like black folks in general, either they love Obama or they hate him. Like it's no in between. Like he's but I'm gonna go away from that because I know there's gonna be
Yeah. So I mean, you didn't get to see it, but you got to see the highlights, right?
Yep.
So pretty much, I got to see the whole thing. I didn't see it live. I went on YouTube. I was already like an hour. It was already like an hour in, and then I just, rewind it and was just like watching the whole thing from the beginning. But it was very interesting. Donald Trump was being Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like he was in there interrupting the whole time, going crazy, but it was funny. I'm not gonna lie. Some people, they take politics too serious. I was just in there the whole time laughing. I'm like, yo, this dude is crazy. This dude is like, yo, if Pocahontas would have won, it's like, yo, if Pocahontas would have been there, Bernie would have won. Like you wouldn't even be here. Like he was going in. And then at the same time, there was like moments where I was like, man, Trump is just there like telling the dude, like, yo, man. Like you've been here for 47 years, you haven't done shit, and you're talking about like you're now about to start doing things, and that was interesting to me. I was like, man, I'm not a Trump supporter, but at the same time, I could respect it that he was calling it out for what it is. A lot of this, politicians that's been around for years, they act like now they're gonna be able to do it. It's like, you've been there for 30, 40 years, like you haven't done shit. And then if you look back on even like Joe Biden, like wasn't this dude trying to stop like people from going to schools, integrating schools and shit like that? It's like that shit is on your record, my dude. Like you can't wipe that shit off. You know what I mean? Like so that was interesting about it. Most people wouldn't most politicians wouldn't go at each other as much as they were going at each other, but it was getting disrespectful at the end. It's like, yo, like Trump is like, yo, listen, don't ever talk to me about smart. Like, there's nothing smart about you, bro. Like, Don't ever mention smart to me. Like, yo, it was disrespectful. I was like, yo, man, this shit is crazy. You got some freaking reality TV show star who says he's a billionaire when he's not a billionaire.
Yep.
You got an old man that basically he's on his way going, right? Like everybody knows we're picking Joe Biden, but the truth is that shit is going right to Kamala Harris. I was like, hey, Kamala Harris is like, okay, cool. Hey, Joe can't do this. I got this. You know what I mean? It's like she's gonna be president for default, right? But the whole situation, I was like, man, I don't even want to have any of these people. I felt like 2016 all over again. Like I didn't want Clinton and I didn't want Donald Trump to be president. And it's like the same thing again this year. And I'm like, man, they should have picked Bernie. They should have picked Andrew Yang, like somebody else that's gonna bring in something different.
But I mean, honestly, like I feel like those two candidates you just said, they're way too radical right now for either one of them to even have a chance. Because like how it is, it's Democrats or Republicans. Like because Bernie's not really a Democrat, really. Like his ideology is not Democrat. Like I don't even know what they call his part, what he's like affiliated with. I can't remember. But Bernie, like a guy, like obviously, if Bernie would have been a candidate for Elizabeth Warren, I think that was who
I like Pocahontas too. I like her too.
I'm not saying nothing. That was Joe. That was not me.
Yo, that shit is funny, bro. That I just be laughing because I'm like, yo, only Trump will come up and be like, yo, shout out to Pocahontas. Like, yo, little
that was not me.
Nah, I'm just laughing. There's nothing wrong with that. We just laughing because that shit is funny. Like, yo, it's just crazy because you can't. It's like if I'm the whitest dude, right, and I have a 1% black, I can't be like, yo, I'm black, man. Black power is like, my dude, you 1% black. Like, you claiming some shit that you ain't got. You don't look black. You don't look nothing. It's like, what you doing, right? And I love her. I love her politics. I think what she was, moving with, and a long time ago, I think they would have won if her and Hillary Clinton would have gotten together back then in 2016. I think they could have won because it would have been the double women, right? Yep. That shit, you got the double W's. You know what I mean? They would have been like this all day, like, yo, we ain't here, we winning this like easy by default, right? And it would have been lit. But now she got into the game to try to become president and stuff like that. But it was just like it was too late. It's like sometimes you can't be claiming something that you're not, especially for some people that they have, they get pissed off about that. They'll be like, oh, you went to college, you got accepted to colleges for because you apply as a Native American when you're not even Native American, and there's Native Americans that's like outside of the college, like, yo, let me in. And he's like, sorry, some white lady got it. You know what I mean? Like shit like that pisses people off. But it was just interesting to me. Some people on Twitter, they're like, Joe, say you're a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just enjoying the comedy of seeing two old white guys going at each other. It's like none of them should be president. There can be a lot of other people that can be better presidents. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, but Obama feels like a president. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have Obama in there, you're like, okay, that's a president. That's a dude that went to Harvard, has put in the work. Like, he deserves it, right? But you got Donald Trump. Donald Trump came off from reality TV shows like, yo, you got fired. Then you got Joe Biden just getting the freebies off Obama's coats. You know what I mean? Like that's why I look at it. I'm like, man, this shit is crazy, man. But
I mean, when you think about it, honestly, I feel like Trump, his whole term has been a reality TV show. Because if you see his tweets, I'm like, man, this dude is a president of the United States, and he's tweeting like he's one of us.
Yeah.
And I think last night, he was tweeting while the debate was going on. I was like, man, this dude is nuts. Like I'm not a Trump. I don't really like Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I respect that he's like ain't scared to voice his opinion. Like I feel like if I was president, I would be the same way. I wouldn't be scared of what people think of me. Like if I believe a certain thing, like that's just how it is.
That's what I think. To me, I see the appeal, right?
Yeah.
Morally, I can't vote for him because at the end of the day, I know that this dude doesn't have my best interest,
Mhm.
right? Especially where I'm coming from and who I am. He doesn't have my best interest, right? But I can respect the fact that he's just in there calling shit out because he knows he's not a politician. He's like, yo, I could say whatever the hell I want. I'm not trying to get reelected for governor, or I'm not trying to be here for long. Like, he knows he's just there for limited time.
Yep.
And he's just like, yo, I'm doing what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was like, yo, what was it? I think there was a line that he has said something like, it is what it is. Somebody asked him, how many people died from corona? It was like, yo, it's like, I don't know, it's high numbers. It is what it is. And I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, who put this guy there? Like, I'm just looking at it as comedy. Like, this shit is fucking crazy. Like, this is where we at in 2020, right? So for anybody that's listening and watching this in the future, like, this is crazy. This is a crazy time that we're living in, right? We have coronavirus currently happening, right? People have died, right? At the same time, the last 4 years has been nothing but Trump in the news. Like, I'm tired of hearing that name Trump already. Like, I don't even watch the news. Like, these days I want to see what's going on, like, locally, but I don't even want to see it because everything is all Trump. And then after everything was all Trump, now it's all coronavirus, like corona. I'm tired of seeing that shit. Like, I just want 2021 to come here already, wipe this shit away and be like, okay, like, this shit never happened. Like, let's have a better, next 10, 20 years without having to think about this shit no more. Like, but it's crazy, bro. It's just crazy. That whole debate thing was a crazy situation. And, that's why I don't know. It's like, I want to tell people go vote, but it's like, who do we vote for? Right? Like,
I mean, I know, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna tell people right now, I'm voting for Biden just because, like, my reasoning behind it is only one thing. That what Trump does is, I think even the debate last night, I think he, like, entices the white supremacists like that. They, like, for some reason, like, they're magnets to anything that he says. So like, I don't know if Trump's a racist. I really don't know, because I don't like saying people are racist if I don't have facts to back that opinion. But I will say this: he is not denouncing the racists. Like, he's not like, I think that's dangerous, because the thing is,
he giving them life. You know what I mean? Like, even with the whole situation, there was like, he hit him with a quote. It's like, yo, who you want me to name? Like, to be honest with you, I don't like Trump's politics. I don't like nothing. I just like seeing how crazy he's there doing all this crazy shit that he be doing. He's like, yo, who you want me to name? Like, I'm just imagining myself on stage, like, yo, who you want me to name? Name somebody, my dude. And like, if Trump talk like this, he will be like, yo, who you want me to name? And the guy goes like, Proud Boys. Listen, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Right? So he didn't tell him, like, stand back and go home, let the shit die out, chill, stand by. So it's like,
crazy, man. Crazy.
Yo, I was just looking at him like, yo, what's going on in 2020, bro? Like, that's crazy, bro. He's like, yo, it was a crazy situation last night, man. I enjoyed it. A lot of people was taking this shit too serious. I'm like, we know who's probably gonna win. It's like, it's gonna be Biden, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do my little vote, give him a little vote, But if not, I probably won't even vote, to be honest with you. If I don't have the time to go in person, I might not even do it. But regardless of that, I'm like, that shit is not gonna hurt me, in the sense of, like, sometimes people take politics and everything that's happening. Like, I remember, like, 2016, there was people on my Facebook timeline crying, like, oh my God, Donald Trump's gonna be president. Like, this and that, the world is gonna end, and this and that. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, this shit is not gonna affect me. I don't wake up in the morning and be like, well, Donald Trump is gonna give me money. It's like, nah, Donald Trump ain't gonna do shit for me. I'm gonna have to go out there and go get it. Oh, Donald Trump is gonna give me free healthcare. No president is gonna give me free healthcare, because look, we wanted Bernie, who could have gave us a free healthcare, which is something that I care about, and nobody fucking put him there. You know what I mean? Put him to the position that we needed him in. And at the end of the day, now we're stuck with two people that we don't like. So it's like, I can't stop my life. I can't be focusing and worrying about what's going on over there when 90% of the things that they do doesn't not affect me at all. Like, that's just the truth, right? Because in the way how it doesn't affect me, because I focus on me. I focus on making sure that I work hard and I gotta take care of my family, right? As long as they're not fucking up the economy, I'm good. You get what I'm saying? That's why I try to do it like that. Even in Dominican Republic, people so like fanatics with politics. Here in the US, I've never seen that till now, till like the whole Trump era. But before, people weren't fanatics like that, like with like politics. Like everywhere I go, I see a Trump sign. Everywhere I go, I see a Biden sign. I used to see that in Dominican Republic where they're fanatics. Like over there, when somebody's about to be president or somebody's gonna become like the governor or senator, they go to like the barrios and into the hood, and they give free money to people so people could vote for them, right? So people are super fanatic because they're about to get a bag. But here in the US, I don't get a bag for whoever wins. I don't get nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not my shit is not gonna stop from, or get any better for whoever comes in. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless, as long as they don't mess up the economy, that's all I care about. I just care about who's gonna go and do the right thing for the economy. That's it.
But they going extra hard this year with like the voting stuff, because I don't know if you ever be seeing like on all the channels, like they be like rock the vote. You get the email blast, you get the text message. Like, I swear, like I've never seen any year, like even like when Obama was the first year where he was going to get elected, I don't even think I've seen it that bad then. Like I'm going hard this year to make sure that people are going to try to at least attempt to vote, like, which is crazy. Like, I'm like, man, this.
Yeah, like, no. It's a little bit crazy when it comes to that, and it's just people too fanatic. Like, I think we got to focus on ourselves and not feel like whoever gets chosen is the end of the world, because it's not, right? What we can do is go vote, right? And vote for whoever you want.
Yeah.
And that's it. Whoever wins. They're not going to change the world. When I came in 2016, and when was it? 2016? No, 2008. 2008, when Obama came in, I thought Obama was gonna change the world. I thought this shit was gonna be kumbaya, cars gonna be flying, like all type of crazy shit. I said, man, the world's gonna change. Obama ain't do shit, right? So it's like if the man that could have changed something couldn't do anything, I'm like, nobody else is gonna do anything. That's just how it is. It's too much money in politics, too many big companies paying and greasing people's hands. Like, if they don't want to change, they're not gonna change. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. So you, as the individual, you need to focus on yourself and making sure that you take care of yourself and don't let nothing and nobody stop you. If they push some law that something is illegal, do something else and then try to succeed with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to do other shit. Like, don't let nothing in life stop you. That's how I live my life. You know what I mean? But again, it's like, I don't focus too much on it. Like, people on Twitter, they're like, "Oh my God, is you a Trump supporter because you're laughing at his antics?" I'm like, I'm just laughing because this guy's a clown. I'm laughing because these people are crazy, and I can't believe that you guys chose him to get put up there. Anybody else could have been put up there. You know what I mean? Like, literally. But y'all chose some crazy dude, and it's like, okay, cool. So this is the consequences, right? Because at the end of the day, one thing that people forget is like, what was it, like 50% of the country voted for him. Yep. So half of you guys, I'm looking at everybody in here. We got 100 people in here. Half of you guys voted for him, right? So you can't be mad at what's happening. It's like, y'all voted for him. It is what it is. But yeah, man. Now, any other things you want to say, Cam, to the peoples, anything that, any stories, or let me see, anybody got any questions, anything that you guys want to talk about? We could go in here and get in here in this conversation. Let me see.
I'm about to say, yeah, if you have any questions, definitely ask them. If not, like I said, I definitely have stories. Like we can definitely go that route too. But
yeah, man, no, definitely. I was gonna say, man, another thing that I wanted to add to this whole situation, right? Like, let's see right now, because I wanted to add some topics. I have some topics here, because I'm trying to bring in some stuff that's happening currently, just to give a little bit more of everything that's happening in the world at the same time, but at the end of the day, man, have you heard of this guy, man? Damn, what's his name? I saw it this morning. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. I think it's not Kevin Love. King Face. I don't know if you saw that. King
No.
Face. You know who King Face is?
Oh, who's that?
So King Face is some dude that is like funny enough that we talked about the whole debate, and then now we're gonna talk about this guy. But King Face is a MAGA supporter, supposed to be like some rapper at the same time. But I saw this yesterday on Twitter that was trending. This dude supposedly he had AIDS, like he died of AIDS, and like now a lot of people are coming out and saying, hey man, he gave me AIDS, this and that. I guess he's a pretty well known like Instagram celebrity or something like that. I didn't even know who he was, but I was like thinking about it. I was like, man, that was an interesting topic. Like in 2020, are we still, people still catching AIDS out here? Like people still.
I mean,
like,
Magic got the cure, man. Like Magic, I don't know what I never.
Magic got the cure.
Yeah, like he got diagnosed with HIV. I think it's HIV. I think that's what it was. Like I never know the difference between the two, by the way. So excuse me if I'm ignorant. I always get the two mixed up. But whatever one he got, he didn't go to the next stage. Like he somehow avoided, because back then, in the 90s or whatever it was, like people thought early 90s it was like a death sentence. Like if you got caught it, you pretty much were gonna probably die. Like it was.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that don't know, it's this dude. I've never really paid attention to this dude or anything. I don't follow him or nothing, but it was very interesting to see this guy when that story came out, and I was like, man, that's crazy. That's crazy that people still catching the monster out here, and what was crazy about it that was even worse was that the dude was just raw dogging a whole bunch of chicks out here and just giving it out.
Charlie Sheen them.
Yep, giving it out like Skittles. It's like, hold this, man. And like, yo, it's just crazy. I just think like that was like a crazy situation where you got to protect yourself. That's one thing that I tell people all the time. Like, you got to protect yourself out here, man. Some people, they get hyped with the internet, they get hyped with the Tinder, they get hyped with all of this. There's days that I'll be like, man, it's a blessing that I'm married, I got kids, I'm at home, because you could be out here, you think you lit, you're like, oh man, I got a couple of shorties coming through, especially now in the Instagram era, where it's like, if you're popular, you have a name or something, or some type of money in your pocket, people is throwing themselves at you. But it's like, how many times they do that too with other guys? You know what I mean? So that's just something I wanted to bring awareness to that, because I really think that is something that happens a lot in our communities, where people are living recklessly, and then they pay the ultimate price when they don't have to. And it's just like, yo, sometimes have one girlfriend, man, have one wifey, stay with one person, somebody you trust. Now, if that person cheats on you and gives you some shit, then that's a problem. That's when you gotta start vetting the chicks out here. Now you gotta give them a whiteboard. Like, before you date a a chick out here, like, yo, listen, ma, you gotta pass this whiteboard test. It's like, what? Try to reverse this algorithm.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like that's why I live in like a small city, because like everybody knows everybody. So like you kind of know, like if people got it, or got something crazy like that, you know what I mean? But if you live like in somewhere like where you like, even where you live, like it's like you have to be a lot more cautious, like especially before you were married or whatever. Like if you live in like Tampa or especially Miami, like I'd be nervous. Like I'd be
nervous. Yep. Yeah, because people are just reckless. I'll be seeing, like, even now with social media, I look at people, I'm like, man, people are freaking reckless. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, people are freaking reckless how they're doing things out here, and it's just crazy, because now, like, look at that situation. That dude is young. That dude is he didn't even look sick or nothing, and then out of nowhere, that's it. You know, he had like a called one of the girlfriends or one of the main girlfriends was like, hey, I, told him like, yo, I think I got this, and that. Like, I took a test and they told me I got AIDS or some shit. And I'm like, man, for somebody to tell you some shit like that, like, and then at the end of the day, he never wanted to go to the doctor. So supposedly he didn't even want to go in and go admit to his truth of like, man, you got it. That's it. Go get the pills, go take care of yourself. He just wanted to live like he didn't even have it no more. Like that was a fluke. Like that's gonna go away. Like it's gonna go away on its own. Like
that's fucked up, man.
At the end of the day, it got him. I'm like, man, that's crazy. I don't know how people be out here like that, man. And that's why I'm so grateful these days. I'm like, yo, I got one wifey. I'm at home. I'm a family man. Cause I'm like thinking about him, like, you can't be risking things out here. You know, it's too much. You know, it's like you're gambling your life, you know, for what? For 20 minutes of pleasure, and then that's it. There's dudes that don't even go for the second round. You know what I mean? Like they don't make it to the second round. It's like, yo, you got one round, and that's it. You caught something. Here you go. You got burnt.
Yeah, that's why. Like I always tell people, that's why I would never pay for people. Some people I know, like they pay, for services. We know what they are. Like I'm like, I don't know who this person is. Like I don't want to pay for whatever it is. People know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then you catch it, and then that's it. Because you can't trace it.
Yeah. Those on that back page and that back.
Oh man, that was a wild time. Like I got stories for that too, but I may be for that one.
Getting the Uber drop offs, Uber Eats. They're like, yo, send me a little something. Light skin with the blonde hair. Uber Eats.
Man, that's some nasty times, man. I don't even know back page shit around.
Yo, dudes be out here reckless.
Oh,
dudes go to Miami. Dudes go to freaking Atlanta. It's like, hold on, I'm in LA right now. Let's order something. Let's order a little filet mignon. You know what I mean? Like,
send me $200.
Send me a Red Bull with the blonde hair, the blue eyes. Send that. Uber Eats. Yeah, man. Now people are reckless, man. Shit is crazy. But yeah, man. Again, guys, like I said, man, we here. It's your boy Joe back at it again, right? So this is the back at it again, right? Or what we call what was the title for this, right? Back at it again podcast. Okay, for those of you guys that don't know, all right. Yeah, man. We here. At the end of the day, at the same time, I'm reading through the comments to see if anybody has any other questions, any other topics that they want to talk about. Now, guys, if you guys have any other topics or questions, put it there on the comment section so we could talk about it before we leave and head out of here. Now, I want to ask you a question. I'm planning on asking everybody that comes to my show this question. What are you listening to right now, Cam?
Yeah, so right now I'm listening to, Big Sean. I don't know if y'all listen to Detroit too. That's like one of my favorite projects right now.
Nice. So what you like about Big Sean?
Man, I feel like Big Sean's underrated. Like, I feel like Big Sean had Drake's flow before Drake stole his flow. Like anyone who knows hip hop knows that Big Sean had that flow that Drake, did back in the day before Drake. So Big Sean is somebody that his albums, they're hit or miss. Like I know his last album, I really liked it. I think one before that it was okay, but I think the one before that was like I forgot what it's called, Paradise, Dark Sky Paradise, something like that. Yeah, Big Sean, he's underrated. And I think as far as rapping, especially when he's with Jhené Aiko, they make great music, man. I'm be honest with you. I feel like she's like the female Drake. Because if you ever listen to her music, that's another artist I like it just be something else.
I think he's dope. I used to like him a lot, with the Finally Famous mixtapes. Like that was my shit. I used to love his music. Lemonade. He had a whole bunch of other songs in there, like bro, like he's an OG, you know. But I feel like, man, he could have been huge, man. But the problem with him is he don't really have like hits like that. You get what I'm saying? Like he never really got to create hits except like his biggest hits is the uh I Don't Fuck With You, the Ass song with Nicki
Yep.
Minaj, and he had another one which was with Kanye and Roscoe Dash, which was Early in the Morning. That's the something Chardonnay. I can't remember. Um, but you know, he was dope, man. But I don't know why I feel like he never really got to hit that point
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
just don't have the hits like that.
Yeah, I feel like Big Sean could have easily went like the Tiger route because I feel like Big Sean.
Oh
and
yeah,
Tiger, like I feel like their catalogs or in the music, like what they talk about is real similar, but Tiger had the hits. Like I feel like Big Sean is Tiger without the hits. Like if anyone listens to Tiger music, like he always has a hit, but his albums, you know, they're okay, but
so it's
he
like
got a hit every year.
It's like Big Sean has the album concepts, but then Tiger has the actual hits.
Yep.
If they would be like, okay, if we merge Big Sean and Tiger together, we'll have a freaking top 3 rapper.
Oh yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's what he's slacking, man. You know what it is? It's also too sometimes rappers want to be rappery rap all the time, and it's like, bro, it's like we're not in that age no more. Like you could spit bars, you could spit stories, right? But people want to hear something that bounce, and especially now, like the way how people consume music, and we live in an age where you got TikTok, you got Instagram, like you got to make music for that era. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of times he's talking about things that people can relate to and be like, oh, if I'm depressed or I'm going through shit, or I remember in my old days, like I could listen to Big Sean's album, but then at the same time I can't, freaking be getting hyped to it, like he's not really that rapper, and he don't have those songs, and it's like nowadays you need that. But he's like how you call this guy that I don't freaking like, what's the freaking what's this guy's Chris Cole? Was it J. Cole? Yeah, Chris Cole. J. Cole.
I thought you were about to say like Chris Calico or something like that. I was like, man, you listen to like underground stuff.
Nah. J. Cole, man. Freaking, that's another dude that I feel like him, Big Sean, and J. Cole are in the same bag.
Right? I mean, I don't think so. I think J. Cole has a way bigger following than both.
Oh yeah, he got a way bigger following than Big Sean. But I feel like the type of music that they make, they're in that lane.
Yeah.
It's just Big Sean, for whatever reason, not everybody gravitate to him.
Yeah, that's weird, man. Honestly, when we talk about J. Cole, like his music, I mean, you don't really do nothing special, but he be selling like 500,000 copies, like every album he drops. I guarantee he gonna sell 500,000 or more. Like, and it's crazy because he don't really have singles. Like his last 3-4 albums he's dropped, he hasn't had a single like number one like type record. Like, and I think maybe this is before streaming was really like the main thing. Like even before that, like he had like an album, like his popular thing is his album with no features.
Mm-hmm.
And I think J. Cole, his problem is he doesn't have people outside of him producing a lot of his records. Like if he had a real good producer producing some of these records that he'd be making, he'd probably have some of the best albums we ever heard of. Because I think his subject matter is cool, but he don't have beats that make it just like you want to listen to it like multiple times. You listen to it one time and then that's it.
Yeah. No, that's what it is, man. Right now, I'm actually listening to. I'm listening to right now. I've been listening to a lot to this kid called DDG. I don't know if you know who that is.
No, who's that?
So DDG is actually a YouTuber, right? Which is funny because people's like, yo, a YouTuber? Really? But he started as a YouTuber, and now he's actually, going hard with the rap game. So he has a song that's freaking dope, man. That's called Moonwalking in Calabasas. You gotta listen to that. Like, it's dope, man. And then he got the remix, I think is with Blueface. Which is funny because Blueface finally rapped on beat.
I gotta listen to that. I've never heard.
Yeah. So you gotta listen to that, man. It's called Moonwalking in Calabasas, I think. Yeah, let me see. DDG. Let me see.
Yeah, you got any like
Yeah.
You got any like I need to quit saying female because people get mad at me. But women rappers that you like really like that you've been messing with, or
Nah, I don't like no female rappers, bro.
oh man,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I wasn't trying to set you up, by the way. But like,
I just don't. I don't like. That's the thing. I'm a big fan of music, right? But I gotta listen to music that motivate me, and at the same time, music that has a message where it's like, if I'm trying to run, I could listen to it, or if I'm trying to get my money up, I could listen to. Most of the women that are dropping music now is like Cardi B, WAP, or freaking this other girl, City Girls, or what's the other girl, Megan
Thee Stallion,
Meg Thee Stallion. Like, all these people, like, they're not making music that I could relate to or I could even like, So, like, what you're gonna be talking about WAP all day, like WAP, like,
yeah.
Like, that shit is stupid, But I seen some girl that wasn't that bad rapping, and I was like, yo, she kind of nice. I think her name was Mulatto.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah. Big Lotto. Yeah. I don't know why she put Mulatto because that's like a racist name. So I don't know why she did that. But speaking of that, yeah, like
I mean,
Gucci like co-signing her. Like I think she signed his label or something. But yeah. Like
I think mulatto is not racist. There's nothing wrong with that. Mulatto is a mixture between black and white, and I think black and Spaniard, which is fine. But even at that, you don't say mulatto, you say mulata. You get what I'm saying? Like, if she would have called herself mulata, like, then that would have made sense, because mulatto, from my understanding, that's the guy version of the word.
Yeah, I think when she becomes bigger, I think she'll change her name, because I think she got a lot of people that be talking about it, and I'm like, if I was her, I would just name myself Lotto or something. I think Lotto should sound better, like, hey, Lotto,
Yeah, I think she should have like a better name.
Yeah, it's just kind of
the name is throwing me off. Like Meg Thee Stallion, that's a hot name. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I like that name. But Mulatto, I was like, I thought it was a guy, and then when they put it on her, I was like, oh, like, she's Mulatto. Like, why you name yourself that? Like. But I don't know, man. People coming up with crazy names nowadays, bro. Like, at least she's not Lil something, Lil M. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was a Lil B, Lil C, Lil.
Yeah, I remember that phase.
Lil Wiz, was it Wiz Khalifa? No, what's the name of this kid? Lil Wiz, Lil whatever. Like, yo, it's just crazy. Mulatto, but I don't know, man. Hopefully, the game changes. I keep hearing, what was the girl's name? Damn, there's another girl that people talk about all the time. Who's in the game? It's like Desiree. No, it's not Desiree. What's the name of that girl? I think you have named her before one time that we was talking about.
Let me see.
Who you know? I mean, there's Cardi B.
Yeah,
Cardi B, Snow White. It was Snow the product. Snow the product.
Yep,
there's Meg Thee Stallion, Mulatto. There's who else? Dream Doll.
Saweetie.
Saweetie. I like Saweetie.
Yeah, she's nice. Yeah, she got hits too. Like,
she got hits.
Yeah,
she got hits. She half black and half Filipino. She got my vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, with her though, I feel like she's who people think Meg Thee Stallion is, because Meg Thee Stallion, like I feel like how big she is, she don't be selling records like her albums like they don't really be selling because I think her last album sold like 45,000 copies or something like that. I'm like, for someone who's like bit is out there, like I feel like people talk about Meg all the time, but to sell only 45,000 records, like you should be selling at least 100,000.
Oh yeah.
Like someone at her caliber, like
With her promo, but that's when people hate on this kid 6ix9ine, but not for nothing. I'm like, yo, 6ix9ine gotta be hot on the street right now. You know why? Because if he could sell 45,000 copies being blackballed, imagine what he will sell without being blackballed.
mm-hmm.
Because you see somebody like Meg Thee Stallion, she hitting 45 and everybody posts her album, everybody, Spotify, all the freaking platforms. She's out there. She drops something, she's all over the platforms. So imagine if 6ix9ine wouldn't be wouldn't be blackballed. But that's a different story. I like 6ix9ine. I like his music. His music, he's not a great rapper, but it's music that could get you hype. Like I don't like what he's done on his personal time, on his personal life, but at the end of the day, I'm for the music. There's a whole bunch of people that are snitches and do a whole bunch of dirty shit out here, and we still like their music. Like I love Jay-Z music, and I don't like Jay-Z, the individual. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean that's like a topic on its own. Like you got people that like listen to R. Kelly, and then he did what he did. We've been knowing what R. Kelly did for years. Like
yeah,
and then people don't even listen to his music no more. I'm like, man, come on, man. Like
people still gonna bump it, bro. You know what I mean?
I know. They're not gonna say it out loud. Then they're like,
man, they got it on their playlist.
Yeah, man.
They still got it on the playlist because if you look on Spotify, you can see. Let's see, like right now, R. Kelly. You could look at how many people are still listening. Monthly listeners, basically 5 million listeners. So he's up there. So it's like nobody can be like, nah, we don't listen to that. It's like, yeah, you do. That's like Michael Jackson. People be like, talking about Michael Jackson and stuff, and they're like, come on now, you got Michael.
I still Michael regardless. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Yeah.
Michael have 30 kids in his basement. People were like, yo, well, he made great music, and that's like one thing that going back to like what 6ix9ine was talking about. People were throwing shade at him for snitching and all that stuff, but there's a lot of people that have done grimy stuff in the music industry and they still around. Like you got R. Kelly, you got freaking Michael Jackson, you got who else, freaking Tupac, allegedly raped somebody, right? Like there's all type of crazy shit in the industry, and they pick and choose on who they want to really blackball, but it is what it is, man.
That's true.
Yeah, man. But yeah, guys, listen, this is has been really fun hanging out here with my boy Cam. We had a lot of fun in this podcast. We talk about all type of things, and that's what I want to do, right? In this podcast, there's going to be podcasts where I'm going to come in and talk about how to get to the bag. We're going to talk about how to grow a company, right? How to get more users, how to be able to sell more products, maybe how to create your first course, all right? How to promote your services online, how to get freelance clients, right? And then at the same time, we're going to bring in topics that have happened currently at the moment whenever the podcast is being released. And at the end, the last section is just going to be like a music section. You know what I mean? There's going to be people that's going to come in here and they're going to be like, hey, man, right now I'm listening to Taylor Swift right now. You know what I mean? Like somebody's going to come in and say, hey, right now I'm listening to my old school days. I'm going back to Backstreet Boys or whatever they might be listening to, right? Listening to some rock or whatever it might be, right? Because at the end of the day, I always feel like, music can let you know, like, where that person is at mentally or where they at in their life, depending on who they listening to at that very moment. So I always think, that getting to have that information from the guest, the individual that's here, that's in the podcast, we're going to learn a little bit more of their personality and who they are as an individual. Okay. So definitely, guys, thank you for coming through. I really appreciate it. This podcast will be available in all the platforms pretty soon. Just search literally Back at It Again podcast, or just search Coding Phase and you will see the podcast pop up. Okay. There's another podcast called Coding Phase, just in case. And yes, I used to own it. Now I decided, you know what? I don't want to use the name Coding Phase. I want to use Back at It Again for the name of the podcast. So like that, we're not just talking about just coding, because there's going to be guests that we're going to have here, guys that are doing real estate, guys that are people that I respect from, regular, 9 to 5 workers, people that's just going to work every day, but have a story to tell, right? Like I'm planning on bringing in all type of individuals, and at the same time, also try to integrate technology, to what the podcast is. Okay. But again, hopefully you guys like this type of format. Again, some freaking guest is going to be for you, some guest is not going to be for you, but just come through, man, and make sure you subscribe. I'm going to put the links for my courses on the description, so you guys can check that out. If you want to, you could get some percentages off. And also too, on every podcast, we're going to put the link of the podcast in there so you guys can subscribe. Hopefully by the end of the week, we could have everything already set up and you guys could start searching for Back at It Again, the podcast with Coding Phase. And yeah, man, hopefully you guys like this format. And like I said, man, thank you, Cam, for coming through. I really appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. Like, if you ever want to have me back on, we can talk about other stuff.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, man. So you already know, guys, it's your boy Joe, back at it again, codingphase.com. Your boy is backing out and did it again one more time. Listen, this is the Back at It Again podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Show some love, okay? And I'll see you guys next week. Take care, guys. Peace.